Guys, let's get 1,000 likes and I'll release a new part right away. Does a person deserve to be humiliated if they are disabled? Does a person deserve to die for something that asks for justice? There was a reincarnation in the cultivation realm, and the main character, a heavenly immortal, he returned to his previous life and woke up from a long sleep. He has a beautiful girl. Someone tries to bully him, but it's all useless. He won't let you. No one else has such luxury, so in this life no one can oppress him, the heavenly one. An immortal. The events unfold in the hospital. A beautiful girl is very shy, saying that the guy, very annoying. The same, in turn, begins to climb to the beauty, who does not understand. Why rush so fast? Because they are in the hospital, and this can wait until home. Guy, Janet understands what the fair sex is afraid of, because he asked Wang Kao, keep an eye on the outside, so no one will come in. The beauty hesitantly pushes the blonde away, noting that Yi Cheng is still in bed, so he doesn't know what to do. It can wake up at any time. Indeed, there is a sick man lying on the bed next to them. The annoying young man also reminds that he is crippled on both legs, so, even if he wakes up, there's not much he can do. The blonde also reminds that Yi Chen, he had known about them long before this incident. And besides, the man had dared to hit him today. Girl, she admits that she would have killed him in front of the guy if he had dared to hit him today. In that, the moment lightning strikes the building, the brunette opens her eyes. The hero is blown up from the spot, recognizing Yuan Hao and Liu Yuxi. He makes a mental note that it looks like he returned to his previous life, and today was his first visit to Jiangnan City. Today, he found out that his girlfriend Liu Yuxi was sleeping with Yuan Hao. When he demanded an explanation, he was shoved. Yuan Hao, he got hit by a truck in the middle of the road. Even though he survived, he was permanently disabled. His father went to the Yuan family to seek justice against him, but the Yuan family beat him to death. After hearing this news, the guy also died from despair. But the heavens did not leave him, and his soul passed to the world of immortals, where he lived 3,000 years of cultivation. When he reached the Mahayana kingdom, he dominated the world and 8 realms, and was revered by countless people as an immortal emperor, Xuanchen. But his humiliating past and the tragic death of his father are what he can't do. Let go. His body died as a result of being unable to overcome the tribulation. Yi Cheng says that he never thought that he would come back to this day again. He clenches his fist, understanding that the day is just beginning. Yuan Hao also states that since the guy's legs are crippled and he can't, then he wants to have fun in front of him with his girlfriend, because he wants to show the consequences. Someone who wants to hurt him. The dark-haired man notices that he has the Tai Chuan Sutra in his head, the highest cultivation in the world of immortal cultivation, so heal your crippled legs. Simple as that. Yi Chen takes the lotus position, concentrating on the energy around him. Sutra Tai Chuan leads true Kai into the body and circulates around it. This has already allowed him to achieve the first level of Kai refinement in an instant. Cleaning the bones is the beginning of further development. Ways. The guy flies up from the spot, taking a standing position. He doesn't care what he has. Disability in both legs. In his words, this trifle is not present. The couple freezes in surprise, not looking at each other, understanding what's going on. Liu Yuxi claims that the guy made an agreement with the doctor in order to deceive her and get her sympathy. The hero prescribes her a powerful bream, asking if she has at least a drop of pity for his crippled legs. The girl clutches her swollen cheek, unable to find the words to say anything. Express anger. At this moment, Yuan Hao pounces on the hero with a fist, believing that the hero is not the same person. He brings trouble on himself. Yi Chen dodges the blow with a sideways motion, surprised that it's not coming back. I really decided to take a step towards it. The hero prescribes a powerful blow to the blonde in the gut, forcing me to bend in two and drop to my knees, shivering from the heat in my chest. Yuan Hao, not seeing other options, encourages Wang Kao to enter. The huge bald carcass bursts into the room. He is 190 centimeters tall and weighs 200 weight. The blonde calls on his subordinate to deal with the guy, beating him to death. Liu Yuxi. She claims that her face should not be scarred, so she demands that she be put to bed as soon as possible. They took me to the best clinic. Wang Kao looms over the hero, beginning to stretch his arms and stating that he would make his life hell. At the next moment, the huge bulk of the big man crashes into the wall. Chen looms over the enemy, noting that no one has ever beaten him. The guy leaves the hospital. He, the immortal Emperor Xuanchen, in this world, no one can insult him or bully his family. The hero notices that he will make you slow down, pay off the debts of Yuan Hao and Liu Yuxi. Yi Chen understands that in today's incident, a girl named Chu Bingyu participated. She swerved sharply to avoid running into him and then turned into the car. As a result, she crashed into a barricade and was seriously injured, because of which she died in the hospital. The hero believes that, no matter what, he is to blame for what happened, so they have to meet her and solve the problem. That's why Yi Chen gets in a taxi and goes to another place. The action takes place in the Jiangnan sanatorium. A girl with blonde hair doesn't understand how this could have happened. Two parents are standing outside the intensive care unit and they communicate with the doctor. A representative of the fair sex asks Dr. Chen how his daughter is doing well. In a fit of emotion, she grabs his robe, demanding an answer. The same, correcting hand glasses, says that the situation with their daughter is very strange because the injuries received in the resulting accidents were not critical, but her condition was. The girl's organs suddenly failed, and all the tests carried out show that she is going through the last days. The mother covers her mouth, tears welling up in her eyes, and her pupils narrow to a point where she can't see them, the size of a needle, because she sincerely does not understand how this is possible. The father declares that Dr. Chen simply has to save their daughter because their Chu family is ready to pay any price for this. The doctor turns his head, saying that he has been working in this field for several decades and saved his life, countless lives, so in his opinion, even a god wouldn't be able to save their daughter. My father covers his face with his hand, trying to control himself. He doesn't want to believe that such a thing can happen to their daughter. His wife almost faints because she can't believe it, that their 20-year-old daughter's life would end like this. There's an awkward silence. A man hugs his wife, trying to support and somehow calm her down. At this time, footsteps resound along the corridor, along with a voice stating that this is inappropriate. It was a joke, because who said that even God couldn't save her? This person was Yi Chen. The woman claims that she remembers him, because it was he who suddenly ran out into the middle of the road, forcing her. Their daughter collide with a barricade. The man also recognizes the guy, specifying whether he is here to ask for death. The hero also admits that the accident with their daughter is really connected with him, so he's here to save her. The doctor declares that the guy is crazy with his mouth full lies. He urges Yi Chen to get out of here. A man approaches Mr. Chu, telling him that I have to prepare for their daughter's funeral. The hero calls the doctor a jerk because he is completely wrong. Obworzel to talk about death to someone who is still alive. The guy explains that their daughter was born with cold body up to 10 years, so every day from 3 o'clock in the morning until midnight at their daughter's, her temperature was dropping and she was shivering, although she felt better later. Yi Cheng asks, but that's all. This happens once every 5 days. The blonde's eyes open in disbelief. It confirms his words, asking how he knew about it. The hero claims that they do not need to find out how he knows this, so he decides to ask only one thing: will they allow it? Go in and save their daughter. My father freezes, trying to decide if this is a bluff or not. The man, seeing the determination in the eyes of the young man opposite, puts his hands on his shoulders, giving permission and noting that everything is now in the hands of the master. The latter asks for forgiveness. He had to go. He goes to the patient's room, noting that he does not like what is around him. People are waiting for him to heal, so he asks everyone to wait outside. Yi Chen notices in his mind that the girl is very beautiful, so it would be a pity if she died. The guy unbuttons a pair buttons on the girl's shirt, exposing her cans a little, and inwardly he asks her not to. She blamed him for coming here to save her. Yi Chen's hand is concentrating energy. She notices that it looks like she wasn't born with a cold physique, but was poisoned. Frost Kai. The weaker the host, the stronger the poison. Yi Chen touches the beauty with his hand, starting draw out the poison. In just a few moments, a blob of purple blood appears in his hand. Energy consumption. The immortal examines the poisonous pest, noting that the Chu family has quite a few enemies, because toxic pests like this can only be used when a person is in the area where they are located. In the late stage of Kai purification, the guy clenches his fingers into a fist, killing the pest, after which focuses on the girl's condition, noticing the poison was completely gone, but the cold Kai, it's still there. The hero can't immediately get rid of her cold Kai right now, but he can keep it alive. From Yi Chen's fingers, a clot of energy flies off, which flies into the blonde's mouth. Canon of the highest mystery. This is the highest cultivation method in the realm of cultivation, and the energy cultivated from it is also. It is one of the sources of the universe. He decides to give this energy to the girl to keep her alive. Nothing else was in danger. A sweet moan escapes from the lips of the beauty and she herself fills up. Blush, starting to sweat profusely. Her breathing becomes ragged, and the guy realizes that he has given Too much. The blonde comes to her senses. She immediately takes a sitting position, asking who he is and what's wrong with him. I did it. She covers herself with a blanket, very embarrassed by what is happening. Yi Cheng asks for understanding. It's right, because he's here to save her. The beauty repeats the words about salvation, and then asks, but who will undress someone to save him? Parents enter the ward. A smile appears on their faces. Mother immediately. He wants to know if the Ure is okay. The doctor opens his mouth in disbelief. Mom hugs her daughter, saying that she already thought about losing her forever. The doctor, meanwhile, touches his hand. Girls, after which he declares that Master Yi is a real god, because all the failing organs, the patients are functioning normally. He turns to the hero, claiming that he, a brilliant doctor, and the devil would stagger if he saw it. The man falls to his knees, leaning over the guy. He asks for forgiveness, admitting that it is his fault that he did not show any interest in her. Respect for him. Yi Chen notices that his behavior was quite normal, because there is a limit. Because of his skill and vision, it would be quite normal to not believe in him. The doctor calls the guy a master, acknowledging the fact that his medical skill is just that. It is divine, so he would like to honor him as his teacher and learn from him if he does not. Objects. Yi Chen mentally notes that the energy in this world is very thin, so it will be difficult. Cultivate the inner core. He decides that it's best to use the pills first, so that he can get rid of them. Improve your strength. The hero reports that there is no need to refuse him. But there is a few things he needs, and if the man can get them for him, he'll be ready. Teach him a trick or two. The immortal holds out a piece of paper with everything you need. The doctor thanks his master, claiming that he will make every effort to get what he wants. The master wants it. After that, he stresses that even if he failed to become his disciple, he would be honored if master wanted to teach him something. The patient is still. He decides to ask his mom and dad what's going on here and who this person is. Parents, they tell their daughter everything as it was. After that, Ure gets up from the bed and bows. Thanks the hero for saving her life. Yi Chen takes the girl's hand, telling her that it's okay, because now they're even. Father, isn't that right? He didn't think so, because Mr. Yi had done a great job for them, and he, Chu Tianlong, would never be able to. It is impossible to forget this, because it is simply impossible. The hero turns to the man, noting that, since she's fine, he doesn't owe them anything else. The father of the family notices that with his, it would simply be impolite if he continued to be persistent, so if master needed help, he would do his best to help him. The immortal decides to warn the blonde. She should be attentive to her diet, and keep yourself warm afterwards. She should also lower the temperature with cold drinks, food, so as not to catch a cold. The patient replies that she has memorized everything. On her cheeks, there is a blush from such care. When Yi Chen goes outside, his phone starts ringing. He picks up the phone. My father swoops in. It was answered with a lot of questions. Why did he take so long to answer? How did everything go? Did he see her? Yuxi and Zhongnan. The hero replies that he is sorry. He's seen the girl, but it's over. The man is the same. He says he doesn't need to force himself if they don't fit together, but he needs to hurry. Pull yourself together and don't let the sadness get the better of you. After that, my father asks me not to forget to visit Uncle Dang and Aunt Wang when he's free, because they've taken so much care of him. And when he was little, the guy asks his father not to worry, adding that he will visit them. In the past, Yi Chen had insisted on being with Liu Yuxi, and that was what had led to the disaster. He, finally able to listen to his father's voice after thousands of years. Then he thought that his dad. It annoys him, but now that he listens to it, it makes him feel warmer. Auntie Wang had been very kind to him in her previous life, and now, after 3,000 years, he can pay her back. The hero comes to the door, seeing several people with very original faces. Hairstyles. They have weapons in their hands. One of them states that Wang Zuan lives above in. This house is number 303. The gang leader reminds the others that Wang Ziyuan is rich, right? That it was better for everyone to ask for more interest. Otherwise, brother, who would be the one they would be with? To talk. The guy notices this situation, assuming that these people are creating problems for Auntie Wang. And the leader of the gang of bandits understands what Wang Zuan wants to do. Stand up for her. He approaches Yi Chen and says that if he wants to get involved in this case, then he should be prepared, because she was giving them $5 million. The bully claims that if a woman can't pay the debt, then today he will beat all of her family, including the hero. After these words, the immortal loses all desire to chat with the villains. The most talkative of them, he sends flying with a kick. Others are frightened by this. Fuse. The bandits see that their brother Jai has flown into the trash. Yi Cheng calmly approaches the door, saying that if they all left now, he would spare their lives. Chen goes to the door and rings the bell. The door is opened by his aunt, who immediately recognizes him. She's a little confused, so she asks why he's in Jiangnan. The brunette says that he's here on an internship, so he came to visit her and her uncle. Auntie Wang also states that now that he was here, she would prepare his favorite dishes for him. They enter the living room, where a woman addresses a man sitting in a chair, calling out, "Look at who came to them." He puts the paper aside and stands up from his seat, recognizing that he has been reading it for a long time. The guest is Zion Chen, whom I haven't seen in several years. He encourages the guy not to be shy and sit down. Next to it, the hero accepts a mug from his uncle, who asks how his father is. Guy. He replies that he still works at the shoe factory. The man says that he is still working there after so many years. He then notes that Zion Chen is from a poor family, so Tom should work harder to take the weight off his father's shoulders. The man says that when he was at his age, he had already opened a company in Jiangnan. Chen agrees, sipping coffee from the coffee shop. Cups, my uncle doesn't like it. In his mind's eye, he notices that the guy isn't even listening when older people give him advice. He believes that he already sees what the future of a relative will be like. A beautiful girl with luxurious forms enters the room. She's wearing a t-shirt, bearing the lower part of the tummy, short shorts and stockings. She asks her father who it is. He tells them that he is the son of Uncle Yi, their former neighbor, and that he has come to work in Jiangnan. The blonde grabs an apple from the table, noting that she doesn't really remember it. About yourself beauty notices that this is a random stranger who came to their house out of nowhere, so maybe he's just trying to ask them for help. After a few minutes, the four of them sit down. At the table, the uncle encourages the hero to try his aunt's cooking and tell him if it has become tastier from previous years. Chen reports that her cooking is still good after so many years. Mentally, he notes that after 3,000 years, the girl thinks that the guy is very flattering. She assumes that he's going to ask them for help next time. Auntie Wang decides, find out if a guy has a girlfriend. The same one gives a negative answer. The woman is happy about this because he might not have known it, but they and his father had actually arranged for him to meet Lin in the past. Zhu wedding. These words almost choke the blonde, who jumps up from the table, and, embarrassed by my mother's words, she asks if she is joking about the wedding. In her mind's eye, Beauty notes that she thought he was here to ask for their help. I never thought he was here for her. A representative of the fair sex believes that this is absolutely not the age to remember old traditions. The brunette decides to clarify the situation, saying that his aunt was confusing something. After all, he had never heard his father mention it. About this, Auntie Wang also reports that they thought to raise the issue after Lin Zhu. He was going to graduate from university, but they didn't expect him to be in Jiangnan right now, so it became a big deal for them. A surprise. The girl declares that now is the age of free love, so there is no more this old love story. Traditions of convenience. After that, the blonde turns to the hero, saying that he should look at yourself, because he is a person who does not think about how to work hard, but thinks about how to get a wife with all these old traditions. She thinks it's a very good idea. A despicable act. Auntie Wang urges her daughter to calm down, saying that this is not the way to treat children. No, it's very impolite. Lin Yu doesn't understand why she would protect such people. How is he? The blonde says she's had enough of this. She gets up from her seat and leaves. The same uncle asks the guy to follow him. As they walk away, the man lights a cigar, saying something. What Lin Zhu said wasn't too bad, because even if his family was poor, he still had to pay for it. The ambitious uncle believes that he should think about how to work hard to earn money, rather than relying on these old traditions to get yourself a wife and family. Van hands the hero a card with 100,000 on it, encouraging him to consider it as a gift. Funding, since she and his father were pretty close at the time. Uncle also. He asks me to forget everything about the arranged wedding between him and Lin Zhu. Yi Cheng points out that Uncle Day misunderstood him, because if his aunt hadn't mentioned it, he would have. I wouldn't even know there was a marriage. The hero reports that he still has a lot of unfinished business. He was in Jiangnan, so he needed to leave, but he would visit them with his aunt when he was free. The man also encourages the guy to work hard for the financial condition of his family, and then he will have a good job. He would have a chance to be with Lin Zhu. The brunette says goodbye to Auntie Wang, handing over the card and saying that if she had any problems, she should call him. He'll do his best to help. The woman is happy with this behavior of the guy, realizing that it is not in vain about this. I did, but she doesn't quite understand what he was talking about. At this time, the boss comes to visit his subordinates. He's angry because they couldn't even get that one back. A small sum, but he still decides to find out what happened. The beaten bandit admits that. Useless, but that guy is really strong. Brother Who interrupts Tom, starting to kicking, asking where this boy was that dared to disrespect him. At this point, the hero appears, who asks if they are looking for him in an hour. The leader steps forward, and the crowd rejoices that Brother Who has taken up the task. They also want to see how Brother Who will beat up the hero. The bandit claims that this kid is a piece of dead meat. It acknowledges that, after working here for so many years, he had never seen anyone who dared to speak their mind to him. Opinion. So Yi-Chen is the first thing Who thinks he should get paid for. He pounces on the hero with a fist. The brunette calmly takes a heavy blow from the fighter without even moving or blocking. His Zhu freezes in place, starting to worry a lot. Beads of sweat appear on his face. One of the bandits laughs, thinking that Yi-Chen was very scared, and the other notices that the speed their Brother Whose strength is practically the same as that of a famous professional wrestler, so this one. The guy's dead for sure. At this moment, a smile appears on the latter's face. It starts move at an unthinkable speed and in just an instant is behind the bully. 2 fingers of the hero stick into the pain point in the armpit area, which causes a cry of pain from the brother. XY. His companions are perplexed, not believing that Brother Who has lost. The hand of a pumped-up man. It trembles, hanging down at his side. At this time, the immortal appears in front of him, about to strike. Another 2-finger swipe. A man can't believe that this guy is one of them. Masters of martial arts. Brother Who already thinks that it's over and he's going to die here today. Yi-Chen stops his kick in the middle of the floor. The last moment. His fingers are mere millimeters away from his opponent's throat. Jock. He is amazed that he wasn't killed. The dark-haired man puts his hands in his pockets, asking if they can now talk. The man thanks the martial arts master for not killing him, and then he adds that the master does not need to repay his aunt's debt, even interest. He offers to accept it as an apologetic gift. The reborn one notes that they will return as much as they should, because this is the reality, but it is important for him to know why. Auntie Wang is in debt. The interviewee explains that the aunt said that her company is in debt and we need money to cover them. Yi-Chen notices in his mind that the energy in this world is very high. It's thin, so it's probably impossible for a cultivator to appear out of nowhere. He wants to know more, so by reminding the man that he addressed him as a martial artist, which he technically isn't, he asks if he can tell you more about it in detail. At this time, a familiar blonde passes nearby, who is the daughter of an aunt. She mentally believes that Yi-Chen is thinking about living off a woman and gets involved with bandits, so one day he will definitely go to jail. After a while, Brother Who finishes his story. The hero leaves, and the bandits say goodbye to him. As with the master, the leader's subordinates don't understand why Brother Who is behaving so well. Even though they know that Yi-Chen is a good fighter, they understand that now it is already. It's not an age when people use their abilities to talk, but they might be able to dial hundreds of people. Brother Who thinks that they don't know anything, because if his assumptions are correct, then this guy's abilities are the same as Master Lei's. Jiao Lei. Master Lei is Brother Who's superior, head of the entire underground of Jiangnan City. The subordinate asks again, surprised, if it's on the same page. This guy is with Master Lei right now. At this time, Yi-Chen remembers what he said to him. Qian Hu. Martial artists in this world are divided into light energy, dark energy, transformation. The hero translates his understanding into the equivalent of this power. According to, in his understanding, a cultivator of the 4th level of Kai refinement is the equivalent of a master. Light energy martial arts. There are 9 realms, including Kai purification, creation, and healing. Foundation, golden core, nascent soul, divine transformation, consolidation, Mahayana, and tribulation. Yi-Chen concentrates on the energy around him. In his previous life, he had reached the Mahayana realm, so that even if he had to start all over again, he still had thousands of years of experience. Cultivations. With the help of the canon of the highest mystery, this will be an easy job. As expected, refining level 4 Kai took an hour. Things are difficult at first, but as soon as Chen Ping, if he gets some herbs, he can start cultivating the core. Then it starts ringing. Telephone. The hero picks up the phone. Chu Bin-yu calls him. The guy greets her, immediately asking, "What you need?" The interviewee notes that he has just arrived in Jiangnan, so it will be difficult for him. It's hard to rent a house, but they have an empty house, so if Master Yi doesn't mind, then he can settle in it. Yi-Chen decides to accept the offers and then send him the address where he wants to go. He'll arrive right away. It will also rid her of the cold Kai in her body. Later in the evening, the guy walks, together with the girl on the territory of the house. The beauty asks if Master Yi likes this place. The hero also admits that he actually has no special requirements for housing. The blonde asks when Master Yi will get rid of her cold Kai. The immortal replies that they can do it now, and she just needs to take off her clothes. At this time, along the road runs a sporty girl. The blonde asks where to shoot and if she needs to shoot everything. He undoes the buttons and starts to take off his shirt. The athlete opens her mouth at this, not understanding what they're doing, but then mentally noticing what rich people have in their day. There really are ways to have fun. The guy thinks that the beauty is joking, because this, same as yesterday. He turns around, noting that it's best to do it inside. The runner is the same, decides to get out of here quickly. When they enter the house, Yi Chen begins to heal. He lightly touches her stomach, starting to pour your energy into it. The same one is a little shy, but mentally understands that he does not have bad intentions, and his hands are very warm, too. After some time, the reborn one reports that the cold energy in her body has been completely removed, so she can walk. The blonde girl thanks Master Yi, noticing that tomorrow night her father is hosting a banquet in the Moon Palace, so she hoped he would be there. Beauty passes to the hero, invitation. The immortal also mentally notes that he was here for half a day and felt at ease. It's quite pleasant, because there is enough spiritual energy at the top of the mountain. He remarks dreamily, what if a spirit formation was built around this villa? Here the hero picks up movement in the window of the neighboring house. Several people in black suits are dragging a girl in a black dress. One of them is holding a good camera. The guy understands that something is wrong here. A man touches the chin of a representative of the fair sex, asking why she. It is so insensitive that it forces him to use force. He admits to sleeping with more famous actresses than her, but they're all the same, so she doesn't have to pretend. Innocent. One of the subordinates asks if the boss can allow them to have a good time as well. The time when it will finish. He even wants them all to have fun together. Director of La Feng also asks her to set up the camera and wait for him to take a picture of her slutty self and see if he can't. Would she disobey them again? The man notes that this is a good job. At this moment alone, one of the guards closes the windows so that no one can watch this process. That's where he came in. Notices the hero standing on the balcony of the next balcony and looking directly at them. Then, he turns around and reports what he's seen to Director Feng. The latter calls the interlocutor. Go to that person and tell them that they will give them money for silence. The man abruptly changes his mind, ordering his subordinate to just kill the witness right now, and he'll give the guy $1 million to run away after he's done it. The subordinate accepts the order, deciding to listen to Director Feng. In the next instant, the room is filled with a crackle of glass. Yi Chen breaks into someone else's house through the window, saying that drugging a woman and wanting to kill someone is mean and shameless enough. The hero is like this. However, he notes that if they do this kind of thing too often, then they should be afraid. Retribution. Security doesn't understand how he got here. Director Feng encourages his subordinates not to be afraid, explaining the guest's actions by saying that he hung up. After that, he declares that no one should find out what happened today, so you need to kill him. The men in black draw their knives, saying that the guy can only blame himself for meddling in his own business. The immortal answers that if that's how they want to die, then so be it. With a jerk of his leg, he lifts it into the air, several shards of glass lying on the floor, and then with a second kick of the same foot sends them to the ground. Arrogant security guards. All three of them are hit in the throat by glass and then fall to the floor. Director Feng freezes in horror. The reborn calmly approached the man, quickly realizing that he was in charge. The same one fell on. Fifth point, asking him not to kill, because he has a big past, so if the guy kills him, then he'll be in big trouble, and so Ott will give him everything he has. Director Feng wanted something to say or suggest, but the hero did not listen to him anymore. With a kick of his foot, he sent the one in the wall. A few moments later, another corpse was positioned against the wall, from the head down. There was a scarlet line on the wall. Yi Chen started trying to figure out what to do with the corpses in a stage, because if this is not dealt with, there will definitely be trouble. At this point, the actress, I came to my senses. She clutched her head, pulling herself into a sitting position. When she noticed that there is a guy in her room, and she nervously asked who he was and why he was in her room. Rage appeared in the beauty's eyes, because she thought that he decided to take advantage of her state. He suggests that while chasing her, the guy snuck into her apartment. A room to desecrate. She's going to call the police to arrest him. Hero. He stands next to her and gives her a light blow on the back of the head, telling her that she should wait a little longer. Get some sleep. The brunette notes that if she saw the corpses, it would be too difficult. Explain. Yi Cheng decides to go all the way to the end, since he's already involved in it. Guy. A phone number is dialed, contacting Jiao Hu and telling him that he has a problem. It's a delicate matter, so he needs their help. He agrees, after which the hero asks, come to the Walong Lodge villas. After a while, Brother Hu reports that the job is done, so he asks if they can leave. The brunette gives his permission. The Hu people cleaned up the room and the bodies were taken away. The girl comes to her senses. She has a bad headache. Yi Chen tells her that she was drugged and he saved her, and the headache is the consequences. Withdrawal of aphrodisiacs, which will pass in a few minutes. Beauty, much embarrassed. She claims that he was the one who chased her, not saved her, so he was definitely planning something bad. Immortal notes that to believe or not depends on her. The actress is amazed at how much. The guy is calm. She assumes that she misunderstood everything. Then she remembers about Director Feng, after all, was the one who insisted on sending her back. It assumes that Director Feng had given her medicine. Here is the look of the fair sex. Stops at the camera in the room. She wants to see if there's anything written on it. The actress looks at the security cameras. Tears are running down her cheeks because this is really that bastard director did it. After finishing the recording to the very end, she is amazed that the guy was so capable. At this time, the hero is engaged in cultivation at home. It is very pleasant for him when there is spiritual energy around. If it went back to the old place, then it would probably take up to 10 days to stabilize the sphere. When will the pill be ready? Finally, he will be able to complete his evolution with the spirit gathering formation and break through to the late stage. His failures in his previous life weren't caused solely by him with his inner demons, but also because he was moving too fast, which led to destruction of the foundation. In this life, he must build his foundation. The guy opens the door and asks why she's here and if she needs anything. Actress notes that it is raining and thunder is booming, and if you add to this what happened during the day, she's a little scared. The beauty wants to stay with the interlocutor for the night. The same person remembers that she thought he was stalking her and harassing her. The interviewee admits that she watched the recording. Then she says that she has a photo shoot tomorrow, so she will leave in the morning so as not to harass him for too long. Yi Chen lets her in, a representative of the fair sex. She thanks him, saying that he is a very kind person. Some time passes, and the actress, she gets out of the shower, noticing that this is actually the first time she's entered the villa. Since Chu usually only uses her for guest service, not sales, so she's the only one who's really interested in working with her. He can't believe the kid was able to buy this. The reborn one replies that he didn't buy it. I just helped the Chu family, and it was their gift. The guy straightens out the bed, saying that if she is going to sleep here, then she should behave. Quietly, the interlocutor replies that she will not make the slightest sound again. They go into the bed, and the girl notices to herself that, to her surprise, she feels comfortable being close to that person. She decides to apologize for misunderstanding him. Immortal asks not to pay attention and just sleep, but the interlocutor wakes up. Interest. She asks if he is a killer, then notes that she saw that he is trained in techniques, but she wonders how I got there so far away. The hero falls asleep. It's amazing. The beauty, because she doesn't understand how a killer can just let down his guard, but infuriates. Her other name. She realizes that he is so uninterested in her that he immediately falls asleep. In the morning, Yi Cheng understands that the girl really left earlier, so it seems that being an actress is not easy. Work. The brunette gets up, remembering that he has to work at the company on an internship, because this is the mortal world, it needs the same identity. After getting dressed, the hero goes to the kitchen, noticing that the actress even cooked for him tomorrow. He notices a note that says a few thank you notes, the girl's phone number, and the fact that she would pay him back later. Yi Chen can't deny that it's quite cute. Events. Transferred to Ya Ran Food Inc. The girl is told that the department is located here, planning where the guy will take an internship. At this time, his ear picks up whispers. Girls. One of them asks if this newcomer is Yuxi's boyfriend. She immediately notices that she looks good, but she didn't expect him to be so violent. A friend recalls that when Yuxi came to work this morning, the bandage was still on her face, and so was she. I heard he burned it with cigarettes. The girl admits that Yuxi was so cute. A girl, so she can't believe she's with such a violent man. At that time, a representative of the fair sex with blue hair approaches Yuxi, reminding her that she told her to break up with him because he was just a small-town worker, a beggar and useless, and now he was bullying her. The girl reminds of the young master, Yuan, who drove her to work in a Porsche. Duty thinks he's good because his father is the top brass of the bureau and he looks like a smart guy himself. Yuxi asks Sister Ji to stop. Ping. After all, she and Yuan Hao are just ordinary friends. Her friend notices that Yi Cheng is still in a bad mood. She has the courage to come to work, so she expresses a desire to avenge her friend. Ji Ping approaches the immortal, noting that he should be grateful that Yuxi is with him. Then she recalls how he allegedly repaid her for everything. The girl tries to put pressure on Pity, saying that if it wasn't for that face patch, they wouldn't even know that she was being bullied at home. The girl wants to get some sense into his head and asks if he thinks he deserves her. Chen notices that they are a bunch of brainless idiots because this bitch cheated on them, and they don't care. They remain fools. In his mind's eye, he knows that Yuxi has been playing the victim since before. After he joined the company, Yuxi says she doesn't care if he uses her, money, beats her, or even bullies her, but she tried so hard to get him an internship at the, hoping that he will get on the right track, so why does he humiliate her friend on the first day? Working day. Yuxi asks if he thinks she's so malleable. It states that the guy is absolutely shameless. At this time, men enter the department, asking why they are. Everyone's here, and don't they have a job to do? This is Zhi's manager of the planning department, Chen Kun. The man asks why Yuxi is crying. After that, he pays attention to her face, asking what happened to her face. Yuxi is the same. She says that nothing happened, but her friend whispers a few words in the manager's ear, telling Tom about the whole situation. He's a little surprised that something like this has happened. The man wants to shame Yi Chen so much and make Yuxi so ashamed of him that she will break up with him. Nim will also receive young Master Yuan. Thanks to him, they managed to conclude several deals. Even before Liu Yuxi started dating young Master Yuan, so if they really become one person, they will be able to make even more deals. According to Chen, Kuna's planning department will be working better than ever, so he considers himself to get rid of this Yi Chen for the good of the planning department. The manager goes to the hero and says that he knows what happened between him and Yuxi, so he is surprised that such a situation can happen. A capable girl like Yuxi got together with a man like him. The reborn decides to clarify that he thinks that by the word capable he meant her. The ability to rely on someone else to make business deals. Yuxi explodes, no, understanding how the guy dares to talk to the manager like that and where his manners are. Her friend, it reminds the guy that he's not in school anymore, so this behavior is very disrespectful. Third, a colleague says that Yi Chen needs to be taught a lesson. Chen Kun shuts everything up with a hand gesture. He says he won't discuss his personal matter with Yuxi, but, as of today, he is an intern in the planning department, so he needs to follow them. Standards, and Yuxi achieved outstanding results for an intern in a month of working in the department. Planning, which is why he said she was capable. The man explains what they have. Standards are for every employee in their department, so they shouldn't blame them for what they're doing. Kick someone out if they can't reach them. Yi Cheng points out that he definitely won't be left behind, because he's her boyfriend. The hero decides to go against Yuxi because he understood her train of thought. Former one invents and uses all these things just so that he breaks up with her so that she can get together with Yuan Hao without compromising your reputation. He just can't allow it. Yuxi calls the guy a freak because he does all this to disgust her. It states that she would see him complete his task as a lowly small-town employee. Chen Kun also notices that since Yuxi trusts him so much, he will have to give him a difficult task. The girl agrees, saying that she is confident that Yi Chen will do a great job. Van says that one of their main tasks in the planning department is product promotion. The company, but right now Jiaran lacks a brand ambassador. Senior employees of this department communicated with many celebrities and influential people from Jiangnan, but a suitable candidate never found it. The manager emphasizes that even Yuxi could not cope with this task, but once the guy considers himself more capable than her, he will entrust him with this task, which he assigns. The hero is only 3 days old. Yi Chen decides to clarify, a celebrity is all they need. If so, then this is a simple task for him. Yuxi's friend stands up for her, saying that Yi Chen should not be amused. Their overconfidence, because she has been working in the department for 3 years and has never once have seen a newbie succeed. Another colleague notices that she has never seen such a forgetful blockhead. Yi Chen makes a call to his neighbor, saying that he works in the planning department, Jiaran Food Inc., and that he would like to talk to her about cooperation. Actress notifies that he will arrive soon. Colleagues think that the guy is delusional and he needs to see a doctor. Another believes that such shameless. The world hasn't seen people yet. The girl with the blue hair emphasizes that this guy is he's only good at this role, so she has to break up with him. Yuxi decides to talk to the guy. She grabs him by the arm and leads him into the next room, while her friend calls for her to leave. I broke up with him. The girl notices that the guy treated her well then, so she doesn't understand why he did it. Can't look at the situation from her point of view now. Yuxi notices that she has a big heart here, the future, but if the others find out that she cheated on them, then she won't be able to work anymore. Here, she asks Yi-Chen to break up with her. The hero says that she cheated on him, so he doesn't have to protect her reputation, so he's not just going to break up with her. So, here the beauty, pointing her finger at the guy, declares that he is also not soft and fluffy because if he wasn't broke, she wouldn't have cheated. Yuxi wants to say what he should have done if he really loved her. However, the immortal stops tolerating these antics. In a pair, inches from the girl's head, his fist slams into the wall, leaving an impressive dent. The representative of the fair sex is speechless, and the brunette reports that it is she. She'd screwed up, so she shouldn't go out of her way to imagine that he'd be caring. According to the reborn, the interlocutor does not deserve such an appeal to herself. Guy, he moves away from the girl, urging her not to bother him again, otherwise she may regret it. Yuxi asks to wait, claiming that if she can't live well, then neither can he, because as soon as his D-list celebrity showed up, she would make him feel uneasy. Girlfriend decides to find out how it went. Yuxi admits that she never thought he would change, so she decided that she would break up with Yi-Chen. Ji-Ping tries to calm her sister down because she should have to make this decision many years ago, and then get together with young Master Yuan, who he treats her much better. At this moment, the famous actress Ning Kui enters the building in escort of security guards. Many are amazed by its appearance in this place. They are also, I wonder what such a popular celebrity forgot here. The manager of the planning department goes out to Miss Ning, introduces herself, and asks if she's here. Come here to talk about collaboration. Mentally, the man is amazed that he has encountered an A-list celebrity. He assumes that this is the work of young Master Yuan. After receiving a positive response from the actress, he offers to go to his office to talk about it. The manager understands that if they manage to sign a contract with such a celebrity, they will be able to. The bonus will be tripled, so he decides to take this chance. The girl passes past it, moving on. He walks up to the hero and puts his hands on his shoulders, asking who it was and how quickly she got there. Yi-Cheng replies that it's fine, and that he won't to say that it is slow. Yi-Cheng notes that his company needs a representative, so he suggests that the girl become him. Ta agrees. The manager freezes, not believing that the newcomer actually called. Miss Ning, Yuxi's friend, is surprised at how easily and quickly the actress agreed to this. You did it yourself. The girl thinks that this is simply unthinkable, because even she did not know that Yi-Chen is familiar with such a thing. A celebrity. Privately, she remembered that when the guy called her, he said that Miss Ning, his neighbor. Yuxi mentally notes that she has heard that some celebrities, they especially move to poorer homes to avoid the paparazzi, so Yi-Chen really likes it. It was lucky that he rented a house near the celebrity. The hero turns to manager Chen, saying that he had made an agreement, so they would only have to discuss the contract fee. Same in. The answer states that the company's budget is only 100,000 yuan, so that the star of this, a scale like Miss Ning's, probably wouldn't be enough. Yuxi claims that manager Chen, I asked him to find a regular representative, and he called a first-class star like Miss Ning. Didn't even consider whether the company could afford such a person. The hero waves it off from a member of the fair sex, saying that today is his first working day, and he does not. I knew they were such a poor bunch. The actress also admits that her fee for the contract, it starts at 5 million yuan, but she never said she wanted them for it paid. Others are surprised by this statement, because it turns out that the celebrity of such a, it will work for free. The girl thinks that you can't compare $5 million with Yi-Chen's work, so the manager should. You should take this as an improvement in sales from Yi-Chen, and the rest of the details are just like that. Discuss it with her assistant, because she's going to have lunch with Yi-Chen now. Hero rises from his seat, noticing that Ning was probably tired from the rush, so he would treat her to lunch. The interlocutor declares that it is she who should treat him, because he also saved her life. The manager is trying to recover. In his head, the words of a celebrity about what to do are spinning. Yi Chen can't be compared to 5 million. The man tries to understand why he deserved this. Attitude to yourself. Yunxi's friend also believes that Miss Ning was deceived by Yi Chen, and now he is. Easily manipulates a girl, like a good ringleader who is good at lighting up. By yourself. The girl starts to get angry at the whole situation. She doesn't understand how Yi Chen had enough of this. The courage to say that it was she who betrayed him. Because, in her opinion, the opposite is true, because Ning Qiyu would never want someone as incompetent as Yi Chen. Unsi is absolutely sure that the celebrity had been cheated, and when the rich woman herself found out, Yi Chen would surely die. A terrible death. After some time, the actress says goodbye to the hero, saying that if and what, he could call her at any time if she needed him, but she needed to get back to her phone. Work. But they can see each other at home in the evening. Yi Chen gives a short answer, accepting these words. However, he mentally notes that the other person says this as if they are returning to the same room, in the same house tonight. The immortal's phone starts ringing. He picks up the phone, where the interviewee asks if it's worth picking up Master Yi, because the banquet will start soon. The brunette gives a positive response, stating that it is located at the intersection of Dong Lai and Chun Lai roads, where there is a Jiazhong restaurant. The interlocutor decides to find out if Master Yi needs styling or new clothes, because he can do it. Deliver. The reborn one thinks that this is too troublesome, and then asks, should he think that Miss Chu is shy of him? The interviewee replies that there is no reason to do so, and Master Yi is a special guest of their family, so of course he can wear anything. After that, the interlocutor informs that he will arrive in 10 minutes. Events are moved to your father. High-end, Moon Palace. Yunxi enters it with Hao, marveling at the fact that it is the most beautiful place in the world. Luxury hotel in the entire Jiangnan city. She claims that Yuan Hao is so cool, and that he's not even a big fan. Someone as big as the Chu family invited him to their banquet. The blonde guy replies that he has a reputation. His father, he is still quite a famous person in Jiangnan. Then the beauty recognizes Yi Chen, sitting at the table. The guy tries to figure out how the brunette got in. Yuxi remembers what she could have done. Ning Qiyu, she even helped him with a $5 million business this afternoon. Right. That this is quite possible. Yuan Hao thinks it's impossible, because if she really is, if she brought him with her, then why did she agree to have him in rags, which are a disgrace to her? Hearing this, Yuxi assumes that the guy snuck in here. The blonde man agrees with her, saying that the guy was looking for trouble for sneaking into the Chu family's banquet. X calls security in. Pointing at the guy, he asks how a stray dog could have gotten into the Moon Palace. Shi calls to get him out of here. The guards approach the hero, not understanding how someone could just sneak into the Moon Palace and where did he have the nerve to do it. The immortal remarks, rising kippish and trying to figure out what's going on. Yuan Hao claims that his father is Yuan Zhong from the Education Bureau, and that man over there is his son, a fellow student at the university, a notorious punk, so he assures them that he snuck in here and calls to expel the hero now. The guard notices that since the young master said so, then he is sure that they were not mistaken. He goes up to Yi Chen and asks him to show them his body, an invitation, or they'll have to send him out of here. The immortal notes that his brought Chu Bingyu here, and that he had never heard anything about the invitation. The blonde guy is hanging above the hero, clarifying how dare a brat like him directly call out Miss Chu's name. Yuxi notes that Yi Chen should write a book for all his lies, after which she asks if he doesn't know what to do. Does a guy think he has some power just because he knows a celebrity? The guards ask you not to blame them for being rude, since Mr. can't show them his invitation. At this point, the hostess of the event appears. The beauty doesn't understand who dares badly contact Master Yi, and then notices that someone probably wants to get into the trouble. The guests are a little startled by Miss Chu's appearance. The blonde man freezes in shock, realizing that the guy has just been addressed as Master Yi. Miss Chu bows her head to the hero, begging for forgiveness and saying it's her fault. Yuxi intervenes in. This is by claiming that the guy is a real liar and that he molested another celebrity this morning. With their sweet speeches, the blonde turns around, noting that she didn't ask anyone else to do it. I told her what kind of person Master Yi is, and besides, she calls everyone out before saying what, or about others, think about who they are themselves. The blonde asks security to take the couple out. Yuan Hao asks to stop, because his father is Yuan Zhong from the Ministry of Education, so he was invited by the Chu family itself. The host of the event notes that his father did not tell him about the topic of today's banquet, so the guy should go home and ask him on his own. The couple is thrown out of the hotel. Yuxi complains that she is in pain, and her clothes are now It's ruined. She can't figure out what kind of charm Yi Chen used on Miss Chu and what makes him special to be there. The guy immediately calls his father to find out what the reason is. The Chu family is hosting a banquet today. The latter tells that one of the intents is today's banquet is to celebrate Miss Chu's recovery, and the second is to thank her, the person who was saved by Miss Chu. His surname is Yi. After these words, the blonde man falls out of reality. For a few seconds, Yuxi, noticing the guy's very worried face, decides to find out what's going on. That tells that his father said that this is a Chu family banquet, and he should thank the one who saved Miss Chu, and that person's last name is Yi, so maybe it's Yi Chen. The girl doesn't believe me. To my ears, Yi Chen had an accident right after arriving in the city, so when did he manage to save me? Miss Chu. That's when the blonde guy remembers that the day Yi Chen had an accident at the pier, the Audi crashed, and whoever was in the car may have been Miss Chu. Unsi clarifies that if this is the case, then so he was the one who saved Miss Chu, and doesn't that mean he's very rich now? The interlocutor is the same, emphasizes that this banquet is just a show, after which hardly anyone will remember about it. Fresh like Yi Chen, the blonde declares that after everything calms down, he is out of the ground, enough to settle the score. At this time, the host of the event says that Master Yi is their chief, a guest at this banquet, so she asks to address them politely, otherwise they shouldn't be blamed, or for being rude. The guests reply that they understand everything. The girl also notes that all high-ranking individuals from all over Jiangnan City gathered here today to thank Mr. Yi, after which she asks Master Yi to show himself. The immortal doesn't mind. The beauty herself. In his mind, he marvels at Yi Cheng's calmness because he didn't show the slightest sign, worry even while being the center of attention of Jiangnan dignitaries. The girl admits that what my father said is true, because Mr. Yi is really a talented person. Miss Chu asks, let her show the guy the way. He also decides to find out if she is always so rude to people. The beauty shamefacedly looks away, saying no, but the two of them were very rude to him, so she couldn't contain her anger. The reborn one laughs, saying that it's alright, because he likes people who don't like him. They are straightforward. The girl freezes, asking him what he likes. In the head of a blonde, trying to figure out if what he said is true, or if she just misunderstood him. He blushes deeply, deciding to stop thinking about it. After some time, the girl's father begins. Make a toast. He says that he would like to thank all their guests who, despite the busy schedule, still decided to take part in today's banquet. The man confesses that his daughter had been involved in an accident a couple of days ago, and if it wasn't for Mr. Yi's help, he would have died right now. I cried in front of the grave. My father declares that Miss Chu is a very lucky person. One of the guests. He says that the future of the Chu family will be even better. The girl also notices that the main character of this movie, Banquet Master Yi, the head of the Chu family, claims that the guests still do not know much about him, because the master, he is a really experienced doctor. Others doubt this. One guy notices that they have the right to call experts, elderly people in the medical industry, and the latter is too young. For this, the man next to him emphasizes that he looks like a student, so he doesn't have much. I wonder how good the guest's skills are. At this moment, a man's voice is heard from the crowd, declaring that Master Yi's skill is beyond him, and that it is absolutely and unbelievable. By this, the person turns out to be Dr. Chen, who notices that the guy has the right to be called an expert. He approaches the hero, saying that he has achieved a lot at such a young age, so that this toast is for him. The brunette notices that the man is flattering him. One of the guests says that Elder Chen is the dean of Jiangnan medical industry, so if he agrees with this, then Mr. Yi's skill is truly incredible. The interlocutor admits that they were wrong about him. At this time, Dr. Chen approaches the hero and he tells him in his ear what he's already got, what he's asked for, so all he needs to know is when. Send it to him. Yi Chen is a little surprised by this, noting that he got it out pretty quickly. After that, he asks to send everything to the #1 villa on Dragon Slumber Mountain. The next moment, the head of the Chu family enters through the doors. The hero immediately assumes that before him is a master of martial arts. The head of the Chu family is an aged man with a white mouth and a beard of the same color. Despite his age, he looks very stately and majestic. A man and a girl bend down. For the first, the head of the family is the father, and for the second, my grandfather. The man approaches the hero, asking if he is the same master who saved you. The Chen gives a positive answer, after which the older man thanks the guy for saving his life. His precious daughter, however, he is curious because he has heard that Master Yi has the ability to great skills, so who among the older ones taught him all this? Immortal shakes head over, stating he doesn't have a teacher, after which he decides to be honest, saying he never will. He has not studied anything related to medicine, and knows only the minimum. His interlocutor notices to myself that the guy is being too modest. The head of the Chu family assumes that the guy, trying to hide who his teacher is. The man notices that the hero is a talented young man, so it's okay to be a little secretive. After that, the gray-haired man pulls out a pocket, a gold piece. This is the official Han Dynasty seal that he managed to buy at that time, at the auction, and he kept it with him all these years. The man wants to give it to the hero as a sign. Thanks. His son is surprised by this, because it was his favorite thing, which he did not play with. Parted for almost 6 years, the head of the family raises his hand, calling on his son to calm down and saying that there was nothing more precious than the deed that Mr. Yi had done for them. Yi Chen takes the seal in his hands, mentally noting that it is a fake. It also evaluates the look on Chu Jianfeng's face that tells him that the other person isn't playing with him, so rather, he probably doesn't even know it's a fake. The immortal decides that he will save him as well, life, since he is ready to sacrifice what is dear to him. The hero notes that he saved Chu Binyu to put an end to what happened through his fault, but now that Senior Chu is sacrificing most valuable, he feels guilty for accepting it. The guy notes that he sees that he has. There is some hidden disease, but he can get rid of it, but not now. These words, they make an elderly man wonder, because the guy was able to see even this. Head of the Chu family declares that, as Chen Pin said, Master Yi's skill is truly excellent, because he is a master of the arts. I was able to find out his condition at a glance, which is truly incredible. An elderly man admits that his body has been getting weaker and weaker since the beginning of this year, and let it be. It will look different, but if this continues, it won't be able to last much longer. He didn't want to tell your loved ones about it, because I couldn't find out where the disease is located. Tianlong From states on his own behalf that he can guarantee that as long as he is able to treat his father, he will. Yu also asks for Master Yi to save her grandfather. The guy explains that in order to find out what kind of disease it is, a more detailed study is needed. No, but he'll do his best. After these words, the father turns to his daughter, saying that he had heard that Master Yi hadn't graduated from university yet, and was currently practicing in the food industry companies, so the man wants Yu to buy this company and give it to Master Yi. The blonde says that she will do it right now. Yi Cheng decides not to refuse the gift, mentally noting that Auntie Wang needs money, so she might need it. After all, this company will be able to solve some issues for her. After the banquet, hero returns home, reflecting on Chu Jianfeng's illness, which may be caused by demonic creatures, but it is more likely that the poison that caused the freeze. Chu Bingyu, just like him. If he correctly identified the reason, then everything becomes more and more interesting. From under, the door to the guy's house is lit, and when he opens it, he is met by an actress, asking where he was and why he was late. The brunette thinks it doesn't make any sense attitude towards her, so he clarifies why she is in his house. Beauty explains that he doesn't. He locked the door, and that she was still a little scared to live in that house alone. The guy decides clarify the situation by asking if this means that she has decided that she will live here. The celebrity does not give a direct answer, asking not to be so harsh and help the lady. She notes that when he wasn't around, she didn't feel safe. Hearing this, the immortal allows her to sleep in the guest room, but he asks her not to come into his room and not to disturb. Ning stomps his foot, calling the owner insensitive. She decides to sleep alone, noting that he makes it look like she wants to sleep with him. The hero takes a pose in his room, the lotus flower, and begins to cultivate. Streams of energy permeate his body. The guy realizes that once Chen Pin brought the herb, he would have to break through to the 5th level of refinement. Judging from Chu Jianfeng and Chu Bingyu's conversation, there are much more interesting things to do on Earth than he thought at first. He should raise his level faster. Beauty reports that is included. After a couple of moments, she finds herself in the hero's room, stating that she is not that. She wants to sleep with him, but she's just a little scared. Yi Chen continues to meditate in the lotus position. Beauty doesn't understand what he's doing. She walks up to him and starts waving her hand in front of his face, asking him if he's cultivating and why. He's meditating. A representative of the fair sex assumes to herself that the guy fell asleep. The brunette, without opening his eyes, declares that she is bothering him, so she either sleeps or goes out. He encourages you to stop wandering around in front of it. A celebrity goes to bed without further ado, mentally calling the guy a bore, but admitting that with him she is much more pleasant. Warning Ning makes breakfast and hears footsteps. She opens the door, preparing to surprise the guy with a good breakfast. However, Dr. Cheng is there, asking if this is Master Yi's house. The girl informs me that these are the houses of Master Yi. She asks the man to come in while she calls the owner. The doctor also tries to understand why the interlocutor seems very familiar to him. The hero decides, check if Ning has any work to do today. She replies that there is, because she needs to take off today. A commercial for their company, so she'll be leaving soon. Beauty asks the guy not to forget. Have breakfast. The doctor also passes the package, saying that these are the things he wanted. By taking a look at, finally, Yi Chen agrees, asking if he has a pen and paper. The doctor passes the hero a pen and paper. The guy starts writing something, saying what he already said. Something that will teach him something, but how much he can learn is up to him. Yi Chen. He finishes writing and gives the paper to the other person, stating that he has things to do so that he can. Make yourself at home. The man looks down at what he's written and is startled to the core. The souls, trying to understand what Master Yi Immortal wrote, go to their room. He notes that the herbs brought by Chen Ping are really good, and it seems that some of them, you can get a good pill. The hero sits down in the lotus position, and in a circle around him, there are herbs on the leaves. It concentrates the energy in your hands and forces all the herbs combined to form a red ball between your palms. This is an entry-level spiritual pill. Its creation makes the brunette think that his skill, the spiritual fire furnace, is still fine, and the spiritual energy that is in this furnace is still fine. A pill is enough to help him break through to the 5th level of Kai refinement. Hero swallows an entry-level red pill. He immediately feels the changes. An object, it begins to gather energy around itself. In the beginning, this benefits the reborn immeasurably. Pain. But then the guy uses the Taikshuan Sutra, starting to absorb the energy. After a few moments, Yi Chen opens his eyes, realizing that he has broken through to the 6th floor, the level of Kai purification. The guy admits that he didn't expect the spiritual pill to be ordinary. The class is able to help him open 2 levels in a row and break right through to the 6th level. The energy inside him isn't what it used to be. Yi Chen decides to go to the company and take a look. How is Ning Qiu's filming going today? Then the guy notices that Chen Pin is getting up on his feet. He kneels in front of him and bows his head to the floor, so he decides to find out what he's doing. Man declares that the master is indeed a revived god, because he has read only a small part of what he says. He wrote it, and it feels like everything he ever learned before doesn't matter anymore. Values. The doctor notices that he knows that he was born stupid, and knows that he cannot meet his requirements, but he is really willing to accept him as his teacher. The immortal replies that the man is very smart, but in reality this is just his opinion about the future. Medicine is not as holy as he says, so he urges the man to get up quickly, because he is quite old and has weak knees. The brunette suggests that they may not become teacher and student, but if they don't understand something, they can ask directly. Doctor admits that there is another line that he doesn't understand very well. It points to her. Yi Chen enters the chairman's office. He is met by former chairman Ziyuming. Afterwards, for a while, he passes the documents to the guy, announcing that from now on, Jiaran is his. Hero admits that the Chu family is quite quick in their actions. The guy decides to find out if it has passed the news that he became the chairman of this company to the people, because she wanted to hold it in a secret. The other person doesn't understand why to do this. Yi Cheng explains that this is the only way he can see the real performance of the company's employees to prevent lies and deception. Immortal goes to his workplace in the planning department, meets him, a disgruntled manager, Chen Kun, who urges the intern to look at the time and declares that Tom shouldn't think that he's the king here just because he managed to call a celebrity. The man claims that he is only the 2nd day at work and is already late, so that if it happens again, he will be fired. The reborn person notices that a man has too harsh a look, after which he emphasizes that he has never seen the manager, who could just fire an employee, and he's an intern and signed a contract. Chen Kun is angry, noticing that the guy is not only late, but also cannot stand even a light swearing. The man decides to talk to his superiors. He calls the HR department and tells them what they have here. One intern is late and disrespects his boss. He asks you to take note of this and say they told him that he didn't have to come to work tomorrow. The Human Resources Department says that it doesn't have permission to dismiss him. Chen Kun doesn't understand what it means. He doesn't have permission. Besmertny clarifies whether he is now dismissed. The manager admits that he was going to fire him, but considering that he is late for the first time, he would give him a chance. Chen Kun leaves, telling him not to be late tomorrow. Inwardly, the man freaks out. After all, he really wants to get rid of Yi Chen. He wants to wait until the ad starts with Ning Qiyu will finish to then find a way to kick the guy out of here. Besides, the man knows that the result of his internship will affect the end of his studies. The man wants to see the guy begging him then. Yi Chen's phone starts ringing. Then, he asks how he's doing and if he's had lunch. The guy replies that he's just about to. Interlocutor. He wants to know how his internship is going and whether he is being treated well. The hero asks not to worry about it because he's doing fine. My father remembers that Auntie Wang called him and said that he was visiting them. The guy gives a positive response, adding that if it wasn't for the trip, he wouldn't have known that he actually was. Arranged marriage. The man admits that he was just thinking about his future, and this time I called him to talk about Lin Zhu. My father points out that Lin Zhu is a student at the University of Hong Kong. Senior year. Yi Chen goes to Auntie Wang's house. He doesn't particularly like what his father says. I asked him to help the girl with her homework. The guy understands that his father is trying to bring him together. Him with her. The immortal realizes that, at least in comparison to his past life, where he didn't even have a family, he thinks he might consider it a cute misfortune. The brunette knocks at the door. The hero is met by Aunt Wang. He invites him in. Then the guy notices Uncle Deng, who he's about to go somewhere, so he finds out where he's going in such a hurry. The man is a little bit surprised, but still tells that the actress Ning Qiyu cooperates with the company Jia Ran Food Inc., which is now located in their city. He doesn't understand why such a small company can collaborate with such a big celebrity, so he made an appointment this afternoon with the marketing manager because he's heard that he's the only one in charge of this whole thing. After that, Uncle Deng notices that Yi Chen is here to teach Lin Zhu, so as soon as he gets there, he will be able to teach Lin Zhu. When she finishes her work, she'll give him something to eat. The immortal says goodbye to the man, after which, ask Auntie Wang if Lin Zhu is home. The woman reports that the girl in her room is doing homework, so he can stop by her place and she's going to wash some fruit for him. Then, Yi Chen walks up to the door of the girl's room, which has a sign that says do not disturb during the meeting. Studies. The reborn one knocks, and Lin Zhu lets him in. The girl crosses her legs, hands on her torso, stating that she had agreed to let him practice with her exclusively. Because I couldn't beat my mother. A representative of the fair sex says that now that he is here, he must promise 3 things, and if he says no, he can just walk away. The brunette is ready to listen to her. She's the same. It starts. First of all, apart from her education, she wouldn't talk to him about anything else. Secondly, he should not touch anything in the room, especially her. Thirdly, she knows that her mom really likes him, but there can't be anything between them, so he has to take a break. You should never fall in love with her or even think about anything like that. Lin Zhu emphasizes that if he agrees to this, then she will agree to be taught by him. Yi Chen agrees to this, adding that he really hopes that she will also remember something. First, he's here because of his father and Aunt Wang. Secondly, apart from education, there is nothing for him here interested in. And as for the third, she thinks too much about herself, and he is not interested in her. Underage teenagers. These words make the beauty very angry. The immortal notices that they should stop wasting their time, so he asks her what she doesn't understand. Tench, Zhu doesn't understand why the guy is so obnoxious. She walks over to the table and points to something, a task that doesn't understand it. The girl decided to ask the most difficult question to watch. Does it know how to solve it? After running through the task, the brunette notes that it's not difficult, because she just needs to use a single formula. She wonders to herself what he can really decide. This, she approaches the guy, pointing to another task and telling him that another task is not necessary. Understands. Yi Chen claims that there is a part of the question that is confusing, but it doesn't help. It's worth worrying about, because he'll figure something out, and if it doesn't work out, then he will listen and try to solve it himself. Immortal thinks about the situation with money at Aunt Wang. He needs to make a skid for her, however, he can't just take money from Jia Ran, even though he is now the head. The guy realizes that he needs to earn money himself to help Aunt Wang. Lin Zhu then notices that the teacher is flying in the clouds, so she asks him where he's looking. Indeed, the hero's gaze was directed at the luxurious cans, a teenager while he pondered the situation. The girl asks if no one has told him anything. I told him not to stare at the other lady, because it was really rude. The guy apologizes, saying that I just passed out. The beauty decides to continue with her studies and not get hung up on this. After a while, Lin Zhu stretches in his chair, admitting that even if Yi Chen looks like he doesn't know what to do. just an expert, but a real expert when explaining questions. Then the girl's phone rings and she says. He picks up the phone. She's talking to someone, noting that she's forgotten she's supposed to be here tonight. There, the girl asks the guy to come out so that she can change her clothes, because after that she will go to karaoke with your classmates. The hero asks again about karaoke, mentally asking himself, and did she go outside at this time in her previous life? The blonde asks what he wants to do. Her friend hides behind her. Both have moisture under. With your eyes. A plump middle-aged man does not understand why ladies are so tense, because their brother Hai just wanted to get to know them better, so there's no need to be afraid. Girlfriend, Lin Zhu steps forward, warning them that they shouldn't even touch them. The blonde demands to be released. The man says he doesn't care what they want, but here he is. It's up to the boss to decide who to let go and who not to. Lin Zhu grabs the phone, stating that if they go one step further, she'll call. The fat man snatches the communication device out of his pocket with a quick jerk. The beauty's hands, saying that it's all useless, so they'll definitely go with them. He gives the order. Subordinates grab the girls. Two friends wring their hands and cover their mouths, not allowing them to scream. The fat man says that they look amazing. Brother Hai is a huge bald guy, says he's a good-looking guy. Play with the blonde. Then a voice from the side asks if the crowd of men is not ashamed. Bullying two ladies. Everyone turns in the direction of the voice and sees Yi Chen. Someone immediately asks who he is. The hero replies that, technically, he is their great-great-grandfather. The reincarnated one takes off and deals with two thugs in a few moments, not one of them, making a serious effort. He puts his hand on Lin Zhu's shoulder, asking if she's okay. The girl is still confused. The boss of the same institution declares that once the guy dared, if I mess it up with them, he won't get out of here alive. Brother Hai on the radio calls everyone to go to toilet. The girl thanks the guy for saving her, but there are too many people here. Same guy. He asks her not to worry, because he promised Aunt Wang that he would take care of her, so he wouldn't let anything happen to her. A few moments later, a crowd of people enter the toilet. Fat boss also offers the guy, try again, since he fights well. The brunette notes that it doesn't matter how much he has people, because he won't let them touch her anyway. Brother Hai walks up to the hero, stretching fingers and asking if the guy knows who he is, so he'd better think about it before insult him. The reborn one grabs the man's wrist, starting to squeeze with an inhuman force. By force and asking, this is the hand that he touched her with. Without waiting for an answer, the guy. She says that the man should say goodbye to her. Tears run down the man's cheeks and a pained wail echoes through the room. His brush. It has acquired a dark blue hue. He calls on the others to kill him. The boss also directs the crowd forward. They pounce on the hero. The red-haired girl is trembling with fear as she sits there. On the floor, Lin Zhu also makes a mental note that they have too many people, so Yi Cheng is in dangers. She's trying to figure out a way to get out of here and call for help. The immortal one releases a stream of energy from its body, knocking out all attackers. The fat man doesn't understand how this is possible, because one person has just dealt with 20. Lin Zhu's friend, on the other hand, is in complete shock and asks her if he has trained anywhere. Chen, the other woman, says she doesn't know. Her voice is shaky from the tension in the air. Brother Hai nervously asks who he is. The hero also breaks in the direction of the bully and does not have time to come to his senses as the guy's hand is on his neck. He decides to find out if they have any ideas. At this moment, a rich young man enters the room, asking Lin Zhu what is here happened. The boss recognizes Zhu Xiaoming and then calls him to look at the mess that is being made. His people did it. The guy asks what Yi Cheng is doing and urges him to let Brother Hai go. Hero, she asks him again, then asks if the guy really doesn't understand what's really going on. It's actually happening. Xiaoming turns his gaze to the girls, making a mental note that there's no need to ask. After all, anyone could have already guessed what happened here. The fat man calls the guy to action. He wants Master Yi to let Brother Hai go. Xiaoming, on the other hand, knows that he can't just go ahead and do it. Run into Chairman Wang. The guy asks Chairman Wang and Brother Hai not to be so angry. After all, this guy is a neighbor of her classmate, and he is from a small town and has never been here earlier, so he's asking for their forgiveness, and he wants Yi Chen to apologize to them directly. Now, the rich man calls on the hero to let go of Brother Hai, because he is sure that something has happened. Misunderstanding. Inwardly, he stresses that he would never have thought that Yi Chen is so good at fights. Brother Hai doesn't understand who the hero thinks he is. The man thinks he doesn't deserve it. Excuse me. He even begins to threaten, wanting to know what he is doing. Yi Cheng prescribes to him a slap in the face, asking if he'd let him talk. The hero is even willing to give an explanation. However, first of all, the goon will say everything, otherwise he will kill him. The richest man grabs the hero by the other hand, counting that the immortal had gone mad. He urges him to think better of it, because Brother Hai is a reliable partner. Brother Hu and the latter had thousands under him. The reborn one is a little surprised by this, Then they are surrounded by a crowd that has come to the call of their leader. One of them stated that the one who, if he dares to bark at Brother Hai, he won't come out in one piece. Xiaoming notices that Yi Chen has gotten them into a lot of trouble. After that, it says it's in. This is not involved, so the guy should decide this issue himself. The rich man turns to Chairman Wang, noting that he couldn't talk some sense into this guy, but he doesn't have any. His attitude to what is happening, so he asks to be given the opportunity to just leave. The fat man, he says emphatically that no one will leave here today. Lin Zhu suggests that I stayed, because otherwise none of them will be able to get out of here tonight. The guy notices that the girl should not worry, because he already said that nothing will happen to her. After these, finally, Yi Chen tightens his grip on Brother Hai's throat. The immortal calls to let the girls go first, and if someone gets in their way, then he will send him to the lords of the underworld. The man through wheezing asks subordinates to let go. Girls, the fat man also agrees, giving the beauties permission to leave. Xiaoming breaks down to exit first. Lin Zhu's friend grabs her, urging her to go. The same believes that they should not, leaving Yi Chen behind just like that. The hero also asks them to go, noting that he will come a little later. Her friend drags the blonde with her, and the blonde tries to stop her, not wanting to leave Yi Chen. When all the friends leave and the guy remains in the crowd of enemies, he lets go of Brother Hai, abandoning him. On the floor, the fat man runs up to him, asking if he's okay. The man clears his throat, claiming that he has now started to respect the guy, so he encourages him to say what he wants. Yi Cheng recalls that Zhu Xiaoming said that their boss is Brother Hu, so he clarifies if it's about Qiu and Hu. Brother Hai asks if he has heard his older brother's name and if he is scared. By this, the brunette pulls out his phone, noting that it's a coincidence that he knows Qiu and Hu personally, so he suggests making a phone call to make sure that he and Brother Hu are the same person. The same person. Chairman Wang gets angry, asking who he is to know Brother Hu personally, and if he tries to ask for help. Immortal ignores these questions by calling to a friend. The same person immediately recognizes Master Yi, asking if there is any assignment for him. Hero gives a negative answer, saying that one person named Zhao Hai said he wanted it. Deaf, and, apparently, he is a subordinate of the interlocutor, who wonders where that comes from. So much nerve. He politely asks Master Yi to let him talk to him. The hero holds out his phone towards Zhao Hai. A familiar voice starts scolding him on the phone, saying that Tom should stop fooling around, because Master Yi is not the person he wants to be. He can be provoked. After that, he asks where he is now. The bald thug. He is surprised, because he recognizes Brother Hu's voice, so he quickly replies that he is in the dynasty of Rome. KTV. Qiu Hu notes that everyone should stay put, because he is coming right now. Chairman Wang decides to ask how you know Brother Hu. Brother Hai assumes that he has hired new ones. People. Brother Hai puts his hand on the hero's shoulder, saying that he means he is their new brother, so that he will be able to help them. I should have mentioned it earlier. He reveals that he and Brother Hu have known each other for a long time, so she can call him Brother Hai. The man notes that he will forget about what happened today, but he should still apologize profusely. Yi Cheng replies that if that's all, he probably will play their own game with them. Brother Hu runs into the karaoke room, apologizing to Master Yi for being late. Picture, presented before his eyes, causes shock. Several dozen people are lying in the hospital. Outage. Chairman Wang and Brother Hai are sitting on their fifths, almost crying in frustration. The hero stands above them. Two grown men, who have been building themselves up as gangsters before, beg Brother Hu to save them. The same one nervously asks what they did to Master Yi. The latter tells what he has. There are relatives here, and they've assigned him to take care of their daughter, but some people think they can defame her and even wish me dead. After that, the guy decides to get an opinion. Ask the other person how they should react to this. The fat man grabs the bandit's hand, admitting his guilt and asking for forgiveness, however they were. We've been with him for 20 years, so he can't just leave him here. Brother Hu wants to turn to the hero, but he puts his hand on his shoulder, saying that there is no hurry, because he gives one night for everything and hope that by tomorrow morning he will say that he is already dead, otherwise he will die. The man realizes that Zhao Hai and Wang Zhongxin are now dead. As soon as the immortal comes out of the karaoke room, Lin Zhu runs out to meet him, asking if he's going to go to a party, whether he's okay. The guy says he's fine, but he doesn't understand why she's still there. Here, although she should have left first, and also where the rest of the girls' classmates are. Blonde, she lowers her head, remembering how Xiaomin hung all the dogs on her, saying that she became a dog. The reason for all this so she doesn't have to play the victim. Events are moved to a few minutes ago. Lin Zhu says that if Xiaoming doesn't want to help, then don't. However, he also has no right to accuse someone else. The guy stands his ground, doesn't, knowing he'd said the wrong thing, because she and her idiot roommate had tripled that number. A huge mess. The rich man reminds that he was almost done consoling Boss Wang and Brother Hai's anger, but Yi Chen gave his brother. I get another slap in the face. Thus, the guy was just humiliated like that, so the guy's actions infuriate him. Xiaomin doesn't understand who he thinks he is, so he definitely deserves to die. The blonde prescribes a sharp slap to the rich man, saying that she really was wrong on the phone. His account, so he should leave if he doesn't want to help. Rubbing his cheek, the guy says that he's leaving and he won't bother her if she wants to die with this jerk so badly. A friend of mine. He notices that there's no point in staying here any longer, so she suggests we leave. Lin Zhu. She claims that she can't leave because Yi Chen saved her, so she should stay here. Wait for it. Mentally, she asks that the guy be okay. The blonde does not tell what really happened, saying that her classmates had business, so they left. Yi Cheng suggests that we go because he will walk her home. These words, they are surprised by the interlocutor, and she asks if they are definitely going home, if everything is settled, and what it happened to that Brother Hai. The guy asks her not to worry, because they will no longer be hers. Bother, Lindsay is amazed that the neighbor managed to settle scores with the one who scared him so much. Su Xiaoming. The girl recalls that she saw him hanging out with all these gangsters. She even suggests that he might be one of them. Beauty decides to accept it as, of course, Yi Chen had saved her after all. Aunt Wang thanks the guy for seeing the girl off to the house. The same person notices that the woman is too polite. Auntie remembers that they are all family, so there's no need to be so formal. My uncle replies that this is not the case. It will go because they still have to thank the guy because he helped her with homework. And he was accompanying her, and it must have been exhausting, so the man decides that next time he would treat him to a delicious meal. Yi Chen notices that it's too late, so he should go home. He wishes Auntie Wang good night. The same one asks him to be careful on the way back. Lin Zhu mentally thanks the guy for tonight. As soon as the hero moves away from the apartment, a relative, he picks up the phone. Chan, who informs him that the punishment has been meted out. However, Zhao Hai is dead, and Wang Zhongxin has lost an arm and a leg. The immortal calls, who next time, it's better to keep an eye on your subordinates, so that they don't let themselves get carried away. Barking everywhere, the bandit asks Master Yi not to worry, because he will make sure that teach them a lesson. As soon as the conversation ends, Chan Hu notices what he was saying to him. I don't want him to do anything stupid, but he probably doesn't care if he provoked Mr. Yi. The man says that Wang Zhongxin is lucky to be alive, if Mr. Yi really did. If he was angry, then even he would be dead already. The fat man declares that he won't do it again. What to do, and that he realized his mistake. Brother Hu says that if this happens again, he will be sent to you. You should just apologize for being alive. Mentally, the complete bandit notices that his old life cannot be returned. But with the life of Yi Chen, it will also be finished. The hero recalls that when he was studying with Lin Zhu, he heard how Aunt Wang had mentioned money, so he needed to think of a way to help her. He dials Chen Pinya, thinking that he might be able to help. Dr. Liu asks if Master Yi needs it. The same. I wanted to ask him if there were any patients in Jiangnan with difficult to treat diseases, and if they were. If you are willing to pay, then it can help them. The interlocutor understands that the master needs money, so he notices that he can just tell him, and he will send them to him right now. Hero. He replies that if he needed his money, he would have said so. The doctor apologizes, admitting that I went too far, and then he tells me that there is one such person. This, quite a prominent figure in the mafia world, but half a month ago something happened and he was hard up, wounded. He tried every hospital and doctor he could find, but none of it worked. It helped. Yi Chen wants to know more details. The hero takes a taxi and drives to a mansion. It is followed by a car in which, located in Yuxi and Hao. To the latter, the man who got out of the car looked familiar, so he asks if it's Yi Chen. The girl is surprised by this, because the brunette came here for. The taxi is so late, so she wonders why. When the headlights illuminate the immortal, then the couple recognizes him. Yuxi immediately asks why he is here. It assumes that I decided to annoy her even after bothering her in the company, and now I decided to follow her. The girl also assumes that the guy has already spent all the money she gave him, the Chu family, so he came to see her, remembering how merciful she was. Hero in silence. He goes to the window of the car, and Yuxi doesn't let up, noting that this is not the right place to go, just to come here like that. But she didn't think he could afford to spend even a day here, even in the cheapest villa in this place. After that, the girl points at the Porsche, saying that it's a gift from her cute hubby, Yuan Hao, and then she asks if he can afford it. Lao, Yi Chen begs for forgiveness, showing the golden card in his hand and saying that he really is. Lives here. Yuxi pulls out his silver card, saying that Tom shouldn't think that he is the only one who has lost his job. He can trick her with this random card. She encourages him to take a look at her key card from. The villas are on the mountain of the ever-sleeping dragon, so he can't even pretend because it doesn't exist. You'll deceive me. Hao's face changes to one of utter disbelief. The reborn one decides, do not answer this question yourself, saying that the girl should ask Yuan Hao, which knows the answer to why its map looks different. Yuxi turns to the blonde man to clarify Yi Chen's fake key card. The guy begins to tell that everything on the mountain is eternal. Sleeping Dragon has 88 villas, and all the key cards are different from each other, and the one that it was in her hand, from villa number 88, while in Yi Chen's hand, the golden card that belongs to villa number 1. Yuxi freezes in amazement, not knowing what to do, immediately believing in it, because what is happening is like a joke. The girl mentally notes that only those with the most power have the right to live on the ever-sleeping dragon mountain, so even villa number 88, owned by Yuan Hao, was bought 3 times over, more expensive, with the help of his father pulling the strings, so that the beauties are completely unclear how to Yi Chen can live in the most expensive and luxurious villa. Then the girl remembers that this mountain of the ever-sleeping dragon is the property of the Chu family, so they probably lent the guy this place as a token of gratitude. Hao agrees with. By this inference, Yuxi exhales languidly, noticing that she has already said that he didn't have. There would be opportunities to do this, relying only on yourself. She steps on the gas and into the next moment crashes into a tree. Yi Chen also realizes that there is still time, so he leaves them, 2 of them to have fun. 2 days pass. The doctor meets the hero, offering to get in the car. He acts like a chauffeur. The actress also asks the guy to be careful and wishes a successful working day. The same person notices that it's been a few years since that incident, so he's already starting to wonder when she'll be back. He can go back to his home. The man also notes that he is here to pick him up for a meeting with the patient I mentioned a couple of days ago. Then a few appear next to them, people in black. The commander of the rank B mercenary team of the Zhao Qingdai Mercenary Alliance. Beauty. He introduces himself by saying that they need to know something, so she hopes he can collaborate with them. The doctor is surprised by this development of events, and the hero decides to find out if he knows them. It turns out that the Mercenary Alliance is a private organization made up of a group of trained people. Mercenaries. They can help solve almost any problem if you have them with you. Bloody. The Mercenary Alliance's strength had grown so much in recent years that it attracted a lot of attention of senior officials. They intend to recruit them, so they give them a lot of tasks. The doctor also says that there are rumors that if the higher ranks cannot solve something directly, then they do it secretly. Yi Cheng decides to find out what they need from him. Girl reports that a horrific case of serial abduction and murder has recently occurred, victims of which were very young boys, and their source told them that he has his attitude to the case, so she hoped for his cooperation. The immortal decides, ask them where this source came from and if they suspect he's the killer. The doctor states that this is ridiculous, and then he asks them if they know who Master Yi is, and he doesn't know why either. They suspect him out of the blue. A representative of the fair sex notes that the killer, whether or not it didn't matter, because he still had to go with them. She wants to take the hero by the hand and drag him along, but he won't let you do it. The reborn man seizes the beautiful woman's hand and wrings it behind her back, claiming that they have not enough qualifications to send him for questioning. The girl is amazed. Yi Chen's speed. The boys rush off, calling for Vice Leader Zhao to be released. They want to help them, but the girl orders them to stop. She notices that there's no point in grabbing her. After all, if he is really innocent, he should go with them and make it clear. But even if they'll leave today, but they'll still come back another time, and it won't be so gentle next time. The brunette also encourages them to try, because he does not mind at all. The doctor decides to intervene in this case. Conflict, considering that there was some misunderstanding. He introduces himself and notes that The girl should definitely know him, after which Chen Ping gives her his word of honor that Master Yi is accurate, not a killer. He asks you to check your source again, because it could be wrong. Girl, I am mentally amazed that the master of traditional Chinese medicine, Chen Ping, is really a master of traditional Chinese medicine. He trusts this young man. The man says that if the girl does not believe him, then he will. He can call the head of the Chu family, Chu Tianlong, because the man is sure that he would do the same. The most important thing for Master Yi, Vice Head Zhao, cringes when it comes to the head of the Chu family. This is the case, a new level, and the representative of the fair sex herself asks a simple question, and who? This is the kind of guy that Dr. Chen and the head of the Chu family are willing to help him. The girl asks for her own. A subordinate, Xiao Lai, bring her a laptop and show her that video. Reborn, let's go. A girl who says that she will show them the video that the source provided them with. The hero is the same, warns that the girl should not touch it again without irrefutable evidence. No proof, because if he didn't, he'd break her arm. The girl mentally notes that the guy, very strong. Dr. Chen also asks Master Yi to calm down. The vice head of Zhao notes that he is young but very experienced, and Dr. Chen is very polite to him. But the name Yi Chen does not cause her any concern. No emotion. The beauty decides that it is better to find out more about it. A person. The girl shows them the same video. It shows a man dressed as Yi Chen and having such a beautiful face. Kerdu, walking down the street, holding the child's hand. The brunette says that there is something wrong with their video. Not so, for 4 days ago, at this time, he was attending the Chu family's banquet in the Moon Palace. This, surprising the girl. However, Dr. Chen states that he was there and can testify, as well as everyone who was at the banquet that day. Vice President Zhao asks Mr. Chen to give her a guest list, those who were present at the banquet that day, because they need to check again. The man says that this is not a problem at all, but he will have to contact the Chu family. The girl asks that Yi Chen continue to cooperate with the investigation for some time, until they won't make sure there aren't any problems. The reborn one agrees. Beauty brings her own changes, because after checking it turned out that he really was at that time in the Palace of the Moon, and he's innocent. She admits that there is most likely a problem with their source, so they'll come back and check again. The hero also clarifies whether they can tell the person's name who provided the video. A representative of the fair sex responds that this is not conforms to their rules. The guy also notices that the person who sent them the video is clearly. She tries to frame him, and he thinks it's wise to find out who the person is. Also, if you intentionally provided false information, then this person will not be trustworthy, and they will not be able to find out what they are doing. Most likely, they will no longer work together. The girl freezes, realizing that the interlocutor, that's right, Vice Leader Zhao, wants to say something else, but her subordinate interrupts. It flies up to Nay, shouting something about another one. The girl calmly asks what happened, and the man asks what happened. Says that the body of the 5th missing boy was only found in the southern district, and there was no evidence left at the crime scene other than a piece of paper. Beauty swears. After all, she thought that this time she would make it. Only the hero assumes that there was used paper talisman. The girl passes a piece of paper with the person's name and details on it, but they need to hurry because they have a case that they need to deal with, so she won't take up his time. Yi Chen reads the piece of paper, understanding who it is and why it was necessary. He asks for Chen Ping. Tell this patient that they will go to see him tomorrow because he has business to attend to. Take care of it right now. At this time, Chairman Wang is sitting at a computer desk and leading a conversation, talking to someone on the phone. He asks how they work, because she was told that they are not working properly. The video was reliable, but it quickly turned out to be a fake. Man, swearing, because now not only was Yi Chen not beaten up, but he also lost the trust of the mercenary alliance. He decides to think of another way to get rid of Yi Chen. He also understands that he needs to. You need to hurry, because if the guy reacts, he will definitely take revenge. There's a vote for. He approves of the fat man's point. The hero stands behind the glass on the roof of the building, thanks to Van Ronxen for reminding him.